Hey guys, it's Rebecca here, and I'm here with my friend Jeannie,
Hello.
and we are here to do the live Q&A. So if you're here and you're watching live, would love to see you pop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. How have you been spending this Labor Day? It's been a holiday, so it was great. My daughter normally works full time, so she was able to meet me for lunch today. So that was great fun to be able to do that. And what about you, Jeannie? Have you done anything fun today?
No, I work every day, so I just work.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, let's see if anybody's popping on here. I would expect we might have a smaller crowd just because it is a holiday. And we've had great weather here in Lexington.
Yes, it's
You had
been.
nice weather.
It's been very nice.
Just super, super great because my husband and I just got released on Saturday. We had COVID. Hey, Jerry. And so we got released just in time to go out and about. And we sat outside at a restaurant today. So it was so nice after being cooped up in our house just with the two of us for so long to be able to be out and about and visit with our daughter and her boyfriend and just enjoy the sunshine. And I actually got a little bit of a sunburn. I don't know if you can tell.
A little pink.
I literally walk by a window and can get sunburned. I mean, I'm just that type of person. But anyway. All right. So Jeannie's got our questions. So we'll get started with those. She'll read those and then we'll both just kind of pop in with whatever we have to say. And if you have questions while you're watching, you can put them in the comments. We'll try to get to those as well.
Okay, the first question is from Kathy, and she says that she works out daily and it's critical to her mindset. But on a prior keto program, it was discouraged. So, can you address workouts?
Well, yeah. Coming from me, I'm a fitness instructor. That's one of the things that I do during the week is I teach fitness classes when I don't have COVID. And so that really saddens me that someone was in a program where they don't recommend working out. I mean, I think any kind of dietary program you do, you should be doing some sort of regular movement. We were designed to move. Our bodies were made to move. And so I think it's really important for anybody to have regular exercise. Now, you don't have to join a gym. You know, you can do housework, you can do yard work, you can walk around the block. But I think regular exercise is important for everyone. So I'm glad you're doing this keto program and not the other one that told you not to exercise. I don't think that's healthy at all.
No, I don't either. It's crazy. Okay, her next question was, well, I guess this is Grace, that she has not embraced intermittent fasting and wants to know if she has to do it to have results. That she does stop eating after dinner and then starts again after her morning workout. Well, that's pretty much intermittent fasting, is what I think. She's if it's from 7, if she stops eating at 7 and then doesn't eat until after 7, that's a 12-hour fast. So.
Yeah. I mean, I love intermittent fasting. I don't know if you do it, Jeannie, but like I love it because it is one of the tools that allows me a lot more flexibility with what I eat just by timing when I eat. Now, intermittent fasting isn't an excuse to go out and eat horribly, but it does cover a multitude of sins, in my opinion, because you're keeping your body from always processing food, right? So all of us do some sort of fasting because that's why the first meal of the day is named breakfast. It breaks your overnight fast. So you don't have to do it. But I think it's a great tool. And I think most people, as they become more fat adapted and eat more of a keto-ish diet, they're able to go longer and make their eating window smaller. So it's not something you have to do. It's definitely a tool that a lot of us here at KETO-SIStas like to use. So if it's not something that interests you, don't do it. I do think the longer you eat more healthy fats and fewer carbs, you will find you tend to just naturally not eat as often because fat is very satisfying, keeps you feeling full longer. So it's easier to go without eating. Hey, we got lots of people hopping in.
I know. It's nice.
Yeah.
So the next one's from Regina, and she said that she may be jumping the gun, but can you explain what exogenous ketones are, and are they natural and safe to take long term?
I will say, go ahead, Jeannie.
She said, thanks so much. She's loving the journey.
Oh, that's good. Exogenous ketones are just, they come in a powder form. You shake them up in water and drink them. And that's how I was introduced to this whole lifestyle. Like that is what got me started on this path. And then I explored more eating healthy fats. I do intermittent fasting like we talked about before. And that's how Bridget got started as well. I didn't really know anything about the keto diet before another gym instructor told me about these. And I started using these. I was looking for better energy because I was napping pretty much every afternoon. I couldn't get through my day without a little cat nap. And now I hardly nap at all. Well, when I have COVID, I nap a lot. But other than, when I'm sick, I don't feel the need to nap. So I feel like I live my life more fully. So yeah, they're perfectly safe. The ketones that are in this packet are bioidentical to what your body would produce if you lived a perfect keto lifestyle and you were burning fat for fuel. So it's safe long term. I have not missed a day drinking this in 6 years now. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. It was 6 years, I think, in January. So I drink them every day. I actually drink them twice a day. When I got started, was drinking once a day. And it's been a great tool for my health. This is not something that you have to drink as part of this challenge. We will teach you how to get your body into ketosis without this. But if you find that this diet and lifestyle is challenging, this is a great tool. It's like intermittent fasting. It's a great tool that you can choose to use. It's not one that you have to use. It's one that I personally am very thankful exist because I don't do a strict keto diet. I don't really want to. And this plus intermittent fasting plus my exercise habits give me the healthy lifestyle that I crave. And it does help me not crave the starches and the sugars as much as I used to. They just don't hold the attraction for me that they used to. So I love it as a tool, but it's not something you have to use, but it is something that is safe and effective if you choose. How about you, Jeannie? I know you have used these before.
Yeah. Now I started on the keto diet, and I'd been in that lifestyle for several years before I discovered ketones, and it actually helped me to get into a higher level of ketosis, which I love because now I have the energy. I don't take naps like same thing like you, and it's really helped me quite a bit. So I love them, and I have missed a day drinking them since I started, but I notice when I do miss it, and so I don't like to miss it.
Oh yeah, I stash them everywhere. I keep them in my gym bag. I keep some in my car. I keep some in my husband's car because I don't want to get caught without them. I had a friend last week text me. She's like, "Do you know anybody up in Fort Wayne, Indiana? I'm having a keto emergency." She had traveled, and her trip ended up being longer than it was going to be, so she was afraid she was going to run out of ketones.
I know when I went on a trip, I carried a whole bag full of them just in case. I didn't want to run out. So.
Yeah, I'm the same. Wow, we have 12 people watching. I did not know on Labor Day if anybody would show up. That's so fun. I see Lynn and Kathy, Cindy, Jerry. Regina.
Okay, the next question is from Kimberly. And she says, what about diet soda or sugar-free Jello? Positives and negatives.
One thing we like to talk about here is good, better, best, right? Like everything doesn't have to be the best choice for you. We like to give people freedom and flexibility and choices with informed, like make sure that they're informed, that they know the consequences of the choices they're making. There are a lot of diet sodas out there that have sweeteners that aren't the best. Do they have a place in your lifestyle? That's for you to decide, right? Like maybe if you're moving from full sugar sodas and you think you do better on diet sodas, maybe that's a good choice for you or a better choice. There are a lot of the sweeteners that get used that I personally don't recommend that still cause an insulin response and have some other undesirable effects. But I don't get up on a high horse and say, don't drink diet sodas. Diet soda is not a choice that I make anymore. It's one that I used to make, and I used to have a lot of stomach issues, and I wondered why. When I stopped drinking the diet sodas, my stomach issues miraculously went away. It just did not serve my body well. So it's not a choice that I make. I do love the Zevia brand of sodas. They are sweetened with stevia, and that is a natural sweetener that doesn't cause an insulin response. And so that works really well for me. They have all kinds of flavors. They have a cola flavor that I like really well. So I replaced my old sugar-laden sodas with Zevia, and that's what I generally drink if I want a carbonated soda. Now, occasionally I do love to go to the movies, and sometimes we'll get popcorn and Coke. Is that a great choice? No, it's a pretty bad choice, but it's my guilty pleasure, right? So it's not, I don't try to live a perfect lifestyle. I just try to find a balance that works for me. And so if diet soda or sugar-free Jello is something that you use that's working for you, who am I to judge? I do caution people that aren't getting the results that they want. They might want to look at some of the artificial sweeteners, whether in Jello or in sodas, and track with a food journal and see maybe you can find a connection like I did when I was having stomach issues with diet soda. And that might be responsible for your stall on your fat loss journey. So it's an area of concern, I would say, if you're not getting the results that you want. But, you have to find what works for you.
Okay, the next question is from Lynn. And she says that she bought some of the sample packets of Nats, and not knowing how much caffeine is in the serving. The most caffeine she ever drinks is an occasional iced tea. Does the drink need to be consumed all at once? And can she drink smaller quantities throughout the day? So I guess it's two different things.
Okay, it sounds like they're...
Or how much caffeine is in it, and then should she drink smaller portions, or how does she?
Okay. So the Prove It products, this is the same. It's hard to hold in front of the camera the right way. These are the same flavor, but the darker one is caffeinated and the lighter one is decaf. So you can choose a decaf version if you prefer. The caffeine that's in the caffeinated one is about the equivalent to a medium Starbucks as far as caffeine. So it's not a huge amount of caffeine. The caffeine that is in our product is really designed to help your body uptake the ketones more quickly. So for people that want to use it as a pre-workout, I recommend getting the caffeinated version because it gets in your system more quickly. For me, I drink 2 a day, so I usually start with caffeinated in the morning, and then I'll do a second one in the afternoon, and I do that decaf. But I'm not overly caffeine sensitive. I know some people are a little more sensitive to caffeine. If you're sensitive to caffeine, I would just say pick the decaf version. Sometimes people, when they start drinking ketones, they might notice that they get headaches. And that can also be true of people who switch to the keto diet or lifestyle. You can start to get headaches. Usually that's a sign that you're not really hydrating well, and you might need to replenish your electrolytes as well as drink more water. If you find you have headaches after drinking this product, it's because ketones can have a diuretic effect again, and that can cause you to have a headache. So if you notice that you're having headaches, whether from using the product or as you transition to a keto lifestyle, I would just encourage you to track your water, to be aware of how much water you're drinking, because you're probably dehydrated. And when you replenish your water, you might also want to consider replenishing electrolytes. I drink electrolytes at least once a day, and on days that I'm really active or if I'm outside a lot and it's hot, I might even do 2 servings of electrolytes. You don't have to drink it all at once. I tend to be a sipper. I just want to feel really good all day long. So I just tend to sip mine. People who want to use it as a pre-workout or who want to have like really great focus, maybe for a presentation at work, or if they want help with their mood, sometimes they drink it more quickly. You really can't mess it up. You can do it slowly over time, or if you want to feel it more intensely all at once, drink it more quickly. I talked a lot. Did I answer all those questions?
Yes. Which brings us right into the Terry asked. She said that she's been drinking the Prove It drinks on and off for a couple of years. She thought she would try to drink them regularly during this challenge. And she noticed that they give her a burst of energy now, but it also seems to come with a headache, which you just answered that. And what would be causing the headache? The last couple of days, I have been drinking the caffeine-free ones, and it doesn't matter. So basically, you already answered that.
Yeah, I jumped the gun on that one then.
Yeah, that was good. Good. So Kathy asks, is keto ice cream truly legal?
Legal?
Yes.
I will answer this with a qualified yes. I would caution you at any point to anything that has keto on the label to actually read the ingredients, because keto's gotten very popular. It's kind of a buzzword. They can sell a lot of products by saying it's keto, but a lot of times they use sweeteners that aren't truly keto. So I would just be an avid reader of labels. I know for me that there are it's dark chocolate sea salt caramel covered ice cream bars that I buy at Costco that are keto. And I feel pretty good about the ingredients that are in them. Now, I don't eat those all day, every day. I use them as a special treat, but those are really good, I think. My husband likes a lot of the Halo Top brand. So he uses those some. I've tried some of them that I don't especially love. So I don't buy those kind anymore, but my husband likes Halo Top. I like the kind I can get at Costco. So it's possible to get keto ice cream. I've even made my own keto ice cream before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I need to get a membership to Costco. It sounds like they have good stuff.
They have so many good keto products now. One of the things we bought on our last trip, it was cream cheese stuffed jalapenos wrapped in bacon.
Sounds good.
I haven't fixed them yet, but I'm really excited about those.
That sounds really good. Okay, the next question is from Kathy, a different Kathy. And it says, since the keto diet focuses on high fat, how do I make meals family friendly without putting family members at risk for gaining weight, since they won't necessarily be following the keto diet? And I just, like with Eli, he eats the same thing we do, but I just put the fat on later, like I put the butter on later and things like that. So I just cook it differently and then add later for Jeff and me.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, I think a keto lifestyle can be healthy for your whole family, but one thing that's not good is having a high fat and a high carb diet, right? So like I've known some people who they've gone keto, but then their family hasn't, so they'll make kind of a keto meal, and then maybe for their family they'll have potatoes and corn as side items that they don't choose to eat. But then, like maybe the entree is a full fat entree, right? So what they're feeding their family is then a high fat, high carb meal, which is not good. So I think what you did, Jeannie, in saying I just have the extra fat kind of on the side, that way people can choose it or not, depending on whether they're also lowering their carb intake, because you don't want high fat and high carb. But like I don't cook a lot, and my kids are grown, so we don't eat at home with, like kids a lot anymore. But when I do, I could cook a keto meal. They're not even going to realize it's keto. And they'll just eat it and not know. But you do have to be careful if you're doing higher carbs side items or whatever. What you said about having the fat on the side is a better choice, I think.
Okay, Nancy has the next question. She says, do you recommend net or total carbs?
I guess I should answer this like my old preacher did. Like when people said, should I tithe on my net income or my gross income? He's like, do you want to be blessed on your gross or your net? I mean, he was just being kind of facetious, but it just depends on what your goals are and how fast you want to get there. To me, net carbs kind of make sense because you're taking out the sugar, alcohols, and the fiber. So you're going to be able to eat more carbs that way. And so a lot of people choose that, right? If you want to be more strict, you could go and don't use net carbs and don't subtract out sugar, alcohols, or fiber. I think most people generally do net carbs because most people are coming from a standard American diet where they've eaten tons and tons of carbs every day. And so that's kind of a way to make that transition without being so painful and so difficult. And I think it generally serves people pretty well. But, if you want to be more strict on yourself, you can always not do net carbs.
Okay, Erica asks the next question. It said, I should be in ketosis. I've been doing this for 2 weeks, but I'm not losing any more weight since week 1. What am I doing wrong? Her net carbs are below 15, 70% fat usually, only eating 1,500 to 1,600 calories, and she has about 50 pounds to lose to be at a healthy BMI. So not sure why it's not working.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I would say I don't know your medical history, your body type, anything. So really specific questions like that on the amount of calories, the amount of fat, the amount of carbs, that's not anything I can just generally advise on. We do offer group and individual coaching for people that want that kind of help. But I would just, this is pretty early on in the challenge. And I would just encourage you to try to trust the process. I know sometimes we don't lose the fat as quickly as we would like, or maybe as, someone else is. But just trust the process. If you're making better choices and you're moving along that continuum to a healthier lifestyle, celebrate that and try not to get too caught up on the scale, not moving as quickly as you'd like. We will talk in the 3rd week of the challenge, kind of pulling things together and what that looks like. And we'll talk about plateaus where maybe you've lost weight and then you've stopped and you're kind of at a stall. We will talk about some specific strategies for kind of getting that fat loss going again. So we'll do that in week 3. But there are lots of things that can throw you out of ketosis. Lack of sleep, too much exercise, Stress is a big one. And sometimes when people get stressed because they're not losing weight fast enough, that fights against their desire to lose weight because it causes cortisol to rise, which causes you to store fat. So I would just say trust the process and don't like freak out, and just give your body time. And we will talk about it a little bit more on week 3, some different strategies you can employ if you still feel like you're not losing fat fast enough. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay, Nancy asks, does the 2 cups of coffee in the morning count towards your water for the day?
Now, some people have very different ideas about this, but to me, if you're drinking coffee that contains caffeine, I would not count it as your water intake. Caffeine can be a diuretic. The whole process of ketosis can be a diuretic. And so we're always losing water. And depending on your activity level, how warm your environment is, you might even lose more. And so to me, I know most people are chronically dehydrated. So to me, I would never count something that has caffeine in it, because that actually is making you maybe lose more water. So I would recommend not counting it if it's caffeinated. If it is decaf, then you can count it if you want to. But most people are drastically under drinking. So I think anything you can do to encourage you to drink more water is good.
Water is good. Okay, Cindy asks, does it work to do keto most of the time, but take 1 weekend off a month? How much progress would a person sacrifice?
Again, that's impossible to say for any one person, but I feel like it's really important to kind of know yourself and how far on this journey are you? Because there are some people who've been keto adapted for years. They can have like a cheat weekend and then jump right back into ketosis when they get back, just like that. And it's fine. Their body is used to making that switch. If you've been a sugar burner your whole life, and then you try to switch to keto for a while, and then you go and have like a cheat weekend, and then you try to come back, it can be very confusing metabolically for your body, right? You're like, are we doing sugar or are we doing fat? Like, I don't know. And so if you're early on in your journey, I would say try not to have those cheat days or cheat weekends, because your body's not made the transition to being a fat burner. And some people are more sensitive to carbs than others. And that's why we think it's so important to track, whether you use Carb Manager, another tracking app, or just like an actual food journal. Because if you're trying to, say, lose fat, you might notice, oh, when I did a cheat day, it was really hard for me to get back on track. Or I did a cheat day and my weight went up, but it went back down when I stopped eating inflammatory carbs. Like you'll just learn more, and information is power. But for a lot of people, it's a slippery slope, right? It's like the more carbs they eat, the more they want. So once they have one cheat day, it turns into a cheat weekend, which turns into a cheat week, which turns into I'll get started again next month. And that's a bad cycle. But if you're more established on your keto journey, it's easier for you to have those kind of cheat days or weekends or meals and kind of bounce back. So you kind of have to know yourself and where you are. But I think early on, it's generally not a great idea, because if you've cut carbs out and you're just now getting used to not having carbs and not craving them, and then you go off and you have a big cheat weekend or a cheat, day, you're kind of back at ground zero for some people.
Yeah, I used to be that way. I used to, like, if I had a cheat day or like a cheat morning, we'll just say, I would say, well, I screwed up this morning, so I might as well just screw up the rest of the day.
Right, the whole day is gone,
Yeah,
right?
might as well, yeah. But now, now if I eat something wrong, I can get right back into ketosis, because I've been in ketosis for so many years.
Yeah. And I mean, I like to be really transparent. I don't do a strict keto diet. So like if you see me going out to eat, I might eat something you were like, I thought you were a keto person. Well, I do believe in a keto-ish lifestyle. I drink ketones every day. I pretty much do intermittent fasting every day. I almost always exercise, and I eat keto-ish, lower carb, right? But like I said, I like to go to the movies and I eat popcorn and I'll drink a soda. That is not in anybody's book ever, even close to anything keto, right? But it's something that I enjoy, and I have moderation in my life on most days so that when I want to indulge, I know that it's an indulgence. I know it's not something that I should do super often, but I also want to be a little more free with my life and enjoy it. So it's just really important to find that balance. And I think it's easier to find it the more established you are with your health habits.
Okay, she also asked, is it possible to build muscle on keto, or is it difficult?
Absolutely. And I've known several like muscle building, like bodybuilding people who are keto. And ketones actually have protective properties as far as preserving and protecting your lean muscle mass. And so that's why when I am fasting, I make sure to drink my ketones, because I, even in my fasted state, want to make sure that I'm preserving and protecting my lean muscle mass. I don't want my body breaking down my lean muscle mass because I'm fasting. So I think keto is an awesome lifestyle for people that are concerned about muscle mass, and we all should be. Even if we don't want to be like a bodybuilder, we tend to, as we get older, lose muscle mass. And so I think a keto lifestyle can help preserve and protect that lean muscle.
Okay, she also asked, is Lily's chocolate bar an okay treat?
I think it's a great choice. Since I just had 2 squares of Lily's chocolate before I got on this live. But you should read the ingredients, right? Because depending on which bar you get, it could be different. Going for the darker chocolate is better. I tend to get like 75 or 80% or higher as far as the chocolate, which can be a little bit bitter. But I find if I put a little pink Himalayan salt with it, it cuts the bitterness and it makes it taste sweeter. So I think it's a great choice. And like when I make my own trail mix, I'll put the Lily's dark chocolate chips in there with it.
Okay, Erica asks, is there any problem with too low net carbs a day? Is 5 net carbs a day too few? Is it better to hit 15 or 20?
I mean, 5 net carbs is pretty daggone low. I mean, that's really pretty strict. But everybody's different. I went to a keto conference once, and I went to a cooking demonstration, and a couple was showing how to make different like keto pancakes and things like that. And the female could tolerate a lot more carbs and still test and be in ketosis than the guy could. So we're all different. And so what works for Jeannie might not work for me. So that's, again, where tracking can really come in handy, because you can see, am I progressing? Am I meeting my goals? Am I, getting the results I want? And if not, then maybe you want to tweak it a little bit. But I mean, 5 net carbs is pretty low. There are a lot of carbs that are good for you, like the carbs in green leafy vegetables. Like those are good carbs. So it's not like we say all carbs are bad. The carbs that you want to avoid are the starches and the sugars, and things like that. But like I eat berries a lot. Berries are pretty low carb, but they do have carbs, but they also have antioxidants in them and vitamins in them. So to me, I think it would be really hard to eat a well-rounded diet with 5 net carbs all the time. Maybe a day or 2 here and there, but that seems pretty low to me.
Yeah. Okay, she asks, is it worth getting the keto testing strips to know if she's in ketosis?
I cannot remember what day we talk about keto testing in the challenge. Jeannie, you might remember, because I know you help a lot with the groups. I think it might be in week 3.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're right.
We'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the different, the pros and cons of the urine strips versus the blood meter versus the breath meter. It can be information. The urine strips are a little less reliable, especially as you become more fat adapted than like the blood meter. So it can be a tool, especially early on, but it's not something you have to do. It's just something that can give you more information.
Okay, she also wants to know, is sugar-free gum bad? She used to be able to chew 10 plus pieces of gum a day. She's curious if that was slow progress. Does it make your body react to the sugar even though it's fake?
Again, you'll need to look at your labels because sugar-free gum can be really different. A lot of them use xylitol, which is a sugar alcohol, which is toxic to pets, by the way. So you need to make sure to keep it away from your dogs. But too many sugar alcohols can cause some GI distress, and also chewing a lot, especially with an open mouth, can cause you to swallow a lot of air. So those two things combined could cause you to have some GI distress if you're chewing that much chewing gum. Also, some of the flavors are really sweet, like the bubblegum flavors and the fruitier flavors. And having something that sweet could keep you on that roller coaster of always wanting something sweet, which can be a little dangerous. So those are just factors you might want to consider. We keep some sugar-free gum in our household, and we use it some. I don't eat or chew 10 pieces a day. That seems a little bit high to me, but again, are you fitting your goals? Is it keeping you from snacking on other things? It's just something to consider. I would especially check out what sweeteners they're using.
And sometimes they mix. They have a good sugar and then they have a bad sugar, so you have to watch that too.
Yeah, and there's a pure gum, PUR, with like the little dots over the U. I like their gum pretty well, and from when I looked into it, now they can change. Manufacturers sometimes change, but they were using sweeteners that I felt okay using, and so I've bought that gum before. So if I were going to chew a lot, I maybe look into that. But yeah, a lot of them will mix one that's a good sweetener and then one not so good. So you're kind of like, well, it's better than eating a bag of potato chips. If it keeps me from eating a bag of potato chips, I'll go with the not great sweetener and sugar-free gum.
That's true. Okay, Antoinette said one day she measured her ketones and they were 1.3. The next day it was 4. She didn't eat anything that she shouldn't, and she wants to know what happened.
It's hard to say. Like we mentioned before, lack of sleep can knock you out of ketosis or bring your level down. Stress levels can. There are a lot of different factors. So I, again, like to caution people who like to test for ketones. It can be a good measure or good metric to give you some information, but you don't want to live your whole life chasing a number. Just like we don't want you to chase a number on a scale or in a clothing label. Like, think about why you want to be in ketosis, right? So if you're wanting a deeper level of ketosis because it's great, like for your mental focus, and it makes you not crave carbs as much and you have great energy, like I can get my ketone level up just by drinking ketones, right? So if I want those benefits, I could drink ketones, test my blood, and my blood level will be higher. If you're wanting fat loss, right, just because I have a higher level of ketones that I've been drinking, that's not necessarily going to translate to fat loss. Whereas if I'm burning my own fat for fuel and making my own ketones, by definition, I'm burning fat to create those ketones. So it kind of depends on what is your goal with wanting your keto level higher?
Right. And I used to always test mine, but I don't need to because I know I know that I'm in ketosis, but I also know when I'm at that higher level to where I also have, I had where I was losing, the inflammation was better, my joints didn't hurt. So I knew I was in ketosis, but I wasn't getting that higher level of the energy. So now, I know when I'm at that higher level. I know when I'm in ketosis and I know when I'm not. So it's just by feeling and not by a number anymore.
Yeah, but sometimes that kind of awareness takes a while to develop. So people might want to measure more at the beginning of their journey. Like I hardly ever measure now. The only time I usually measure is if like once a month I try to do like a 60-hour fast, and I just like to know how deep I get into it. My husband and I just kind of have a friendly competition. And so that's really the only time I ever test my blood is when I'm doing a really longer fast.
Okay, Kathy asks, is sausage grease supposed to be drained off? She assumes that it is because it's not one of the healthy fats.
My caution on sausage gravy would be, what are you putting in it to thicken it? That would be my concern. Like, are you putting regular flour in it, right? Are you adding a bunch of carbs in milk to make your sausage gravy? The fat part I wouldn't be concerned about. It would be the other stuff that would be more of a health concern. And I know that seems weird. Like people are like, oh, sausage can't be healthy. It's just greasy. And bacon can't be healthy. And I mean, again, on your spectrum, those things eating for breakfast are a lot better for you than the biscuits and the pancakes and even the oatmeal. Like I used to eat oatmeal because I thought I was doing the heart healthy thing. And like I was eating more carbs for breakfast than I should have had all day long. So I personally would not be concerned about the fat from the sausage, but I would be mindful of what I'm adding to it to make the gravy.
Okay, Kimberly asks, how does drinking ketones work? And if you're already in ketosis, is it overkill?
Well, you kind of answered that with your experience, didn't you, Jeannie?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think it's overkill. Absolutely not. So, it just brought me into the higher ketosis where I needed to be for the energy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tool, and some people use it and some people don't. I have some people that I know that have been doing the strict keto diet for so long, they're actually angry that this exists because they're angry that I can have as high a level of ketones in my blood, even though I ate pizza for lunch today with my daughter, than they do. And they're doing a very, very restrictive diet. So for some people, they just can't get over it. Like they feel like this is cheating. And I'm like, it's a tool. And if this tool exists, I for sure I'm going to use it because it makes my life a lot easier and a lot better. And that's what I want. I don't care about having bragging rights for doing the keto diet the old way. Like my sister, she has 6 kids and she's had them all naturally. Like she didn't have an epidural or anything. And I'm like, that sounds awful to me. I was really glad to get an epidural. Like I was really happy in the hospital when I did that, but she didn't. And that was her choice. And she's had 6 kids and she's happy with it. I was super happy to get that epidural and have 2 kids and not be miserable for hours on it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, Jerry, I saw Jerry was asking real quick, what brand of gum did you say? Pure, Pur. And the U has little dots on it. I'm sorry, Jeannie, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I said with the umlaut on it.
Yeah.
I was just saying that I was doing strict keto for about 2 years before somebody told me about the ketones, and I was like, no, thank you. I'm going to do it this way. And so a couple of years later, that's when I I thought, well, maybe this isn't working as well as I need it to. So that's when I started the ketones.
And I mean, that's what we want for people. We want people to be educated, like to know that intermittent fasting is a tool that they might want to use, to know that drinkable ketones are a tool they might want to use. I don't judge people that don't do either of those things. I don't judge people that do both of those things. That's why we like to talk about real life keto here. We want to find a fit that's right for you in your real life. And what like worked for Jeannie 2 years ago when she was doing it totally on diet, that was working for her. But when she decided it wasn't working anymore and she learned that there was another tool, then she wanted to use it. So how you live your life can ebb and flow depending on what you've got going on. Like if I'm a busy mom of toddlers, I probably don't have time to meal prep, and do a lot of those things that maybe you can do later in life when you don't have little kids.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Okay, Kathy asks, is it true that sugar feeds cancer?
I should have said this at the beginning. We are not medical professionals. Even if we were, we aren't your medical professionals. Mm-hmm. So if you have cancer or diabetes or anything that you're under treatment for a doctor, you should always be working with your doctor, especially if you're making dietary changes. For example, if you're a diabetic and you're on insulin and you're on metformin and you're on different things and you're taking this challenge, you might be losing weight. Well, if you lose weight, your doctor might need to adjust the level of medication that you get. So it's always uber important to work with your medical professional. That being said, I will, after we get off here, put a link to a TED Talk that I watched early on when I was studying about keto. And the doctor talks about the effect of keto and sugar and cancer and how all of that can interrelate. So I'll share that link later.
Okay, that was all the questions except we have one in comments, and it says, you can have unlimited green leafy vegetables, right?
I wouldn't say unlimited. I mean, I could foresee someone going crazy and eating too many, like too much of a good thing is not a good thing. But yeah, I mean, as far as carbs go, that's what you want your carbs to be, like the green leafy vegetables, not the baked goods or the pastas. I would think it'd be pretty hard to overdo green leafy vegetables, but theoretically it could happen. So I would not say unlimited, but I doubt you're going to get into an issue with them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're good for you, but you also have to watch how many carbs you have. So keep track of it.
Right. Because if you're trying to get into ketosis, even the good carbs could knock you out if you eat too many. Now, a lot of those are going to have fiber too, which you could subtract off. Right. If you're doing that.
If you're doing that. Well, that was all the questions today.
Well, this was fun, Jeannie. I'm so glad you were able to hop on with me.
Oh, me too. It was fun.
All right, so we got them all in the comments too. Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right, well, I guess that's it for now.
That is. It's good seeing everybody.
All right, bye guys. Thanks.